I'm sorry, folks, but we're going to have to talk about this little weasel, Sadiq Khan, again. I know, we absolutely loathe the man who is about to get a knighthood. And we have found out today from the Telegraph that there's a report that's come out that says that the Windrush rebrand of the Overground, quote, can help stop ethnic minority passengers from getting lost. They are so obsessed. Everything is about minorities. They've rebranded the lines, the Windrush line, the Suffragette line, and all these woke names, but the wokery didn't stop there. They've partly done this to stop people who live in London who can't be asked to speak English from getting lost. Let's have a look at what the hell is going on in this report. So, Sadiq Khan has overseen this 6 million quid rebrand, and the Transport for London Equality Assessment of the impact of the changes. Why do we need an equality assessment? I mean, that just sounds like an absolute waste of taxpayers' money, first of all. And we'll get on in a moment to another big Sadiq Khan story regarding the waste of your money, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, so this equality assessment said the simpler system could benefit ethnic minority Londoners for whom, quote, language can be a significant barrier to public transport use. How about you just learn English if you want to live in England? I mean, there's an idea, integrating with our language and our culture, but no, you'll be racist if you say that they need to learn our culture and our language. Oh, better not say that. The report said, quote, cultural and language issues can reduce confidence, thereby limiting their ability to travel independently. Limiting their ability to travel independently. I mean, I'm sorry. It used to be the case that to travel round the tube, you just had that one huge map with all the lines on, and you had to sit there and point at it and try and figure out where the hell you're going and where you need to change. You didn't just whip out your City Mapper app or your Google Maps app, plug in where I am, where I want to go, and it would tell you exactly what lines to go on, when the train's arriving, what platform, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It could not be easier to travel on the tube these days, yet apparently we need to rebrand the Overground line and Overground lines and waste 6 million quid on this rebrand so that people who don't speak English don't suffer from limitations on their, quote, ability to travel independently. What is this nonsense? But oh no, we've got to do an equality assessment of every single policy and make sure that it benefits the BAME community in some way. Every little spending of taxpayer money by Sadiq Khan. You know what would help the BAME community in London, Sadiq Khan? Stopping knife crime. There's an idea. Might make a slightly more positive impact to people's lives in London than changing the colour and names of the Overground lines. Just an idea, you know, I'm not an expert, but just trying to use a little bit of common sense here. I've got an idea that stopping knife crime might be a little bit more important. You know, maybe you could have spent 6 million quid more on stopping knife crime. Probably would have been a good idea. But anyway, you can't stop this man. Excuse me. For some Black, Asian and minority ethnic Londoners, language can be a significant barrier to public transport use, especially among people who were not born in the UK. Okay, London is a place that a lot of tourists come to. So I could get behind a report that said we need to make the labelling of the Underground and the Overground services easier so that London is a more attractive place for people to come on holiday to and to spend their money there. You know, I appreciate when I go to another country, if I go to France or Spain or whatever, and I go on the metro, if some of the signs are in English and, you know, there's staff around that can help with speaking English, you know, I appreciate that. But this isn't about tourists, the stuff that this report is saying, okay? It says Londoners. for some Black, Asian and minority ethnic Londoners, language can be a significant barrier to public transport use. That is where my problem is. If you are a Londoner and you live in London, you live in England, speak English. If you can't speak English, learn quickly. Get your lessons in. And you know what? Everyone knows the best way to learn a language is to throw yourself in the deep end in a place where it is impossible for you not to learn it. Okay? I've done my bit of learning Spanish, and whenever I'm around Spanish people who speak English, I don't learn a bloody thing because they switch back to English quickly. If I'm in a place where the signs are all in English underneath the Spanish and I'm trying to learn Spanish, I don't learn very much. But when I spent a week with some Spanish people who didn't speak a word of English, I've never learnt so much of the language in my life as I did in that 1 week. Okay? If you're going to live here, tough it out. Learn English. Accept that that is our language, okay? This is not a place where you can just live in a bubble and never learn our language, live here for years, and just think, oh, I have a right to live in this country and not have to learn the culture and not have to learn the language. And Sadiq Khan is going to make sure that it's easy for me to live in my bubble where I don't integrate and I can keep on speaking my own home language and not have to learn a word of English. What a load of absolute rubbish. Let's have a look at what else is in the document. The document said signs and customer information should be clear, accurate and concise to prevent Black, Asian and minority ethnic customers from getting lost, helping them feel comfortable with travelling to unfamiliar places on the Overground. I'm sorry, but how soft are we? Is it really that terrifying to go on the tube? Okay, I used to go round the tube before we had smartphones, before we had Google Maps, before we had City Mapper. I used to go round the tube when I was 5 years old. Me and my brother, he was 7, I was 5. We'd go round London and we'd figure it out. Okay, it was a good learning exercise. It was a good challenge trying to navigate. Okay, and you're saying that these people, we need to hold their hand. You know, we can't have multiple overground lands that are the same colour and are named by the destination rather than being called the Windrush line and the Suffragette line. You know, we can't make it so difficult for them with having multiple lines with the same colour. How will they cope? It's just insane. And you know, you have to think, you know, is it really, when they're talking about this concern about getting lost, because, you know, the tube map is kind of confusing, right? Surely this is a problem for everybody. And, oh no, but it's particularly a problem for the BAME community, apparently, because they've done this survey, and apparently 10% of the BAME community surveyed say they are worried about getting lost when travelling, compared with 6% of white Londoners. I mean, come on, it's a 4% difference. Why is it all about the BAME community? Yes, we should have clear signage on the tube, but you don't need to make it all part of this, like, oh my god, we're helping the BAME community. Absolute garbage. Now, the people at City Hall that do all this rubbish rather than solving knife crime, turns out they're all getting paid an absolute ton of money for it. Because I saw this other article today just after I was done with that one, and this just made my blood boil even more, because we've now found out that the City Hall bosses paid by Sadiq Khan are on a record receiving a record 2.4 million quid altogether. That's all while knife crime is absolutely soaring and they just keep getting pay rises. I mean, where is the accountability? Let young Londoners die and get stabbed, get a pay rise for it. I'm sorry, where's the logic for that? Shouldn't you be fired or lose your bonus, or at least not get a pay rise if you've literally failed to do a good job? Let's have a look at some of these figures. So they've been paid a record 2.4 million, his top team of deputies and political advisors, up from 2.1 million in 2022/2023. Now, let's take a look at how much the individuals are paid. So, his highest paid team member is David Bellamy, Chief of Staff, who's on nearly 156 grand a year. And it's not just the one. He's got a top team of 11 members who are on 147 grand a year. 147 grand a year. Just for context, Keir Starmer is paid 166 grand a year. Not much more than that. And do you remember Sue Gray? He had one advisor on this huge mega salary of 170k, and we were all up in arms being like, this is insane, this is way too much money, why is she being paid even more than the Prime Minister? But little did we know that all at the same time, Sadiq Khan had 11 people around him on 147 grand a year. And who's paying? Well, you know who it is. It's you, the taxpayer. Unbelievable. And then this really made my blood boil if we look at this last paragraph. Lib Peck, who is she? The director of the Mayor's Violence Reduction Unit, is on 130 grand a year. That's a pretty nice salary, isn't it, folks? They must have appointed her because she's so good at her job. They must be giving her that big salary as, you know, a pat on the back for her amazing ability to reduce violence in London. I mean, clue is in the job title. But no, violent crime in London has gone up 30% since Sadiq Khan took office in 2016. Well. This is just so wrong. 130 grand a year to just sit back and talk about diversity and whatever else, whilst kids on the street of London live their lives terrified of being stabbed. And you do nothing about it. Absolutely bugger all, and you just let the figures rise and rise and rise. Don't care about the human side of you just see a statistic and you're like, it's all right, I'm getting my 130 grand salary, so my life's all right. Yeah, it's not all right for the poor young boys, especially in the black community in London, who are terrified to go outside. We saw Sean Bailey standing up, speaking at City Hall, complaining about Mr. Khan and his lot, just talking about DEI all the time, whilst his nephew, Sean Bailey's nephew, apparently is too scared to leave the house because it's too dangerous. And we're talking about London. We're not talking about some third world country. We're talking about London. Sadiq Khan, that little weasel, he has ruined London. He's here talking about his suffragette line and his Windrush line and how much he's doing for the BAME community to make sure that those of them that can't be asked to learn English whilst living in England don't have a hard time travelling round on the tube. Whilst all that's happening, he's just letting violent crime rise. And what does he get in return for it? Oh, he's going to get a knighthood. I mean, what a slap in the face to Londoners and all the taxpayers that pay for those big fat salaries of his team of absolutely useless people. Anyway, that's enough moaning for today. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chloe Dobbs. I'll see you very soon.
Still watching? Well, I've got a quick ask for you. Recent UK, we're fighting the woke brigade and inspiring young Brits, but we need your help to go bigger. We're hosting a fundraiser and would love you to sign up and share the link on the big day. It's easy, it makes a massive impact, and there are prizes for top fundraisers. Click the Google form in the description to join us. Cheers very much. Let's keep going together.